Kairi has always been a character that is seen as needing protection. A damsel in distress who some would characterize as only there to give Sora a push narratively. She's constantly told to stay back despite her wishes, and essentially is told that she is too weak to help out. I think there are a number of reasons why this sentiment is felt, but it encroaches on the actual character of Kairi, and gives a great snapshot on how people deal with constant change and loss in their life. Welcome to the Psychology of Kairi. Hi, I'm Bio-Roxas. If you don't know me, I'm a clinical therapist that loves to break down characters and talk about why we connect and resonate with them. I think we can learn a lot about ourselves in the stories that we love, and so I thought, why not start talking about the characters of Kingdom Hearts? I won't yap for too long here, but I just want to say if you enjoy this kind of content, subscribe or become a member here or on Patreon. Both greatly help me out. Lastly, this video is brought to you in part by Fresh Faces 3. If you haven't heard of this is a charity organization that does KH2 randomizer tournaments designed for casual, beginners, or new players for the KH2 Rando. The whole idea is to help people get into it for the first time, which is why it's called Fresh Faces. So if you never tried the randomizer and you have always wanted to, this is the best way to try it out. The team is super nice, super encouraging, and super fun. I had a blast on the last one, even though I was like horribly last. But that was the thing, it wasn't really about like winning or losing, it was about having fun, learning about the randomizer, and just meeting cool new people. The qualifiers are happening very soon, and if you participate, the organizers will donate $5 on your behalf, which is just really incredible. If you use my code, BIO, B-I-O, all lowercase, when you RSVP through this link in the description below, and you complete the qualifier, your contribution that they'll put forward will be $7.50 instead of $5. So it's a great way to help out charity, and I think it's a really great cause. I really appreciate them reaching out and offering to sponsor this video. Now without further ado, let's talk about Kairi. The best place to start, of course, is at the beginning, though not at the first game. A young Kairi is seen in Radiant Garden a number of times throughout the franchise, most predominantly in Birth by Sleep. She's a background character that Aqua meets during her visit to this world. Kairi is being chased by floods, the lowest level of Unversed, spawned by Vanitas. Part of me wonders now with the implications of Vanitas being one of the old darknesses, if this could be seen as him trying to put out one of the lights, since it is revealed later that Kairi is one of the new Hearts of Light. Regardless, she's in danger, running away and being cornered against a wall before Mickey and Aqua appear to save the day. I do like how Aqua is the one to protect her. While Kairi does not remember this, since she directly tells Aqua she doesn't remember their interaction when they meet in KH3, at a young age, kids are highly impressionable. Seeing a woman protect her, in my mind, translates as Kairi seeing that women can be just as strong a protector as men can be. I love Aqua being a role model for Kairi, and seeing how in the future Aqua steps up to be Kairi's teacher, I think it's safe to say that Aqua has had and will have a lasting impact on Kairi and how she views herself. There's a lot instilled in Kairi with this very brief interaction. Not only does she see Aqua as a protector, but she is also told of the light that lives within her. We learn that she has heard this before though, as when her grandmother takes her back home, Kairi asks for the story about the age of fairy tales again. So maybe she didn't believe her grandmother, but hearing somebody else tell her that kind of solidifies that belief about light. Anyways, this story is a recurring one that we hear starting all the way back in Kingdom Hearts 1. This ties back to the time of Union Cross, and the implications are really interesting. Even if the darkness completely takes over, fragments of light will survive in the hearts of children. Even in the deepest darkness, there will always be a light to guide you, which rings true multiple times throughout the series. While this may seem unimportant to Kairi's story, it actually is one of her core beliefs that guides many of her actions that ultimately save Sora time and time again. See, when we have core beliefs, things that we come to learn about ourselves and the world around us, we often will react to situations unconsciously based on those beliefs. I think the best example is in Kingdom Hearts 1, when Sora falls to darkness and becomes a shadow. Kairi, believing Sora to be that shadow heartless, turns and hugs him as shadows overtake them. She reaches for Sora's light, and in that moment both their lights shine, overpowering the darkness and bringing Sora back. Her heart reached his in the deepest darkness, helping him to return at the last moment. Kairi relied on the belief that Sora's heart was still there, and clung to the light she felt, even if it was unconsciously, because of her core beliefs about light and darkness. There are many things she heard from her grandmother that probably stuck with her, like,
"Believe in the light, and the darkness will never defeat you. Your heart will shine with its power and push the darkness away."
These kinds of core beliefs makes the things that Kairi says in future titles seem more like ingrained beliefs than just the writers waxing poetic about light and giving Kairi super armor. It solidifies how strong light truly is, and shows that Kairi herself believes in that fully. I think it strengthens the narrative being able to follow back these beliefs about light and then actually seeing them play out. While we were on the topic of this story from Kairi's grandmother, I do want to talk about the grandmother's behavior and what it can tell us about Kairi. When she first finds Kairi, she doesn't seem overly anxious or worried, and just gives a simple,
There you are. It's time to go.
Okay.
Her simple and warm regard for Kairi speaks to a calm and peaceful life that she provides for her. To me, this says that Kairi often scampers off looking for new flower beds to forage through. And the grandmother is even seen following her out in some of these forays sometimes, telling her stories and passing the time away. It's nice to see a family type of relationship in this series that appears natural and normal. For a lot of these characters, we never actually see their parents or guardians, so getting that insight into Kairi's upbringing is really interesting. Another nice thing to see is this simple interaction of Kairi handing Aqua some flowers. It highlights the innocence of Kairi here, and Aqua wants to protect that, casting a spell on her that if Kairi is ever in trouble, the light within her will guide her to another. And she soon is in trouble, as we see in Melody of Memory, when she is captured by Xehanort. I find this point where Kairi is captured really interesting, because I think we actually have a timeline of when this happened. During the events of Dark Road, young Xehanort had a protector, someone who watched over him and kept him safe from the darkness. This protector told Xehanort stories of the past, of the Age of Fairy Tales. When that protector passed, darkness swooped in pretty quickly. When we have seen Kairi with her grandmother, what is she talking about? The Age of Fairy Tales. And when she is close to her grandmother, we see Kairi calm and safe, picking up flowers or listening to stories of the past. When she strays too far though, she's in danger. The darkness finds her. There's a distinct moment though in Kingdom Hearts 1 when Kairi's grandmother suddenly disappears. Kairi is visibly frightened, so it's not like the other times where Kairi runs off to go play by herself or something like that. Could it be that her grandmother was keeping the darkness from interfering with Kairi? When her grandmother finally disappeared, Xehanort, who has yellow eyes at this point and is probably being manipulated by darkness, was able to find Kairi and set his plans into motion. The parallels to young Xehanort, in my opinion, are very striking. All these memories of her past are hazy for Kairi though, which is understandable. She was really young. For a lot of us, we may not specifically remember things from our past, but the way things made us feel and what they taught us about the world are still internalized. I think the same can be said for Kairi's early years. Forgotten, but formative. While we aren't sure how long Kairi is on the islands, she is 4 when she is seen in Birth by Sleep, and 14 at the start of Kingdom Hearts 1. So sometime during that decade, her world was lost to darkness, and she was jettisoned off to the Destiny Islands. Her personality is solidified a bit, with her having a very teasing, spunky kind of attitude when she teases Sora and Riku. This stays with her throughout the franchise. She is always ready to tease, even in the heat of battle.
You know Sora's completely hopeless without us. Come on, Riku.
In KH1, we get to see a lot of this on the island. She pokes fun at both Riku and Sora throughout their time working on the raft. In KH2, we see her making a little joke about Sora being hopeless without her and Riku. She again teases Riku in 0.2 when she questions who this new Riku is in front of her, and where'd the old one went.
Who's this new Riku and where's the old one?
New me?
Yeah. You're more like Sora.
Lastly, we see it pop up a bit in her interactions with Axel, with the most notable one being when she playfully copies his catchphrase, holding a finger up to her temple just like he does.
Yeah, very memorized.
It is always playful and doesn't really seem to be malicious. I really like how natural it comes across as well. It's this light, playful side that highlights a quick wit in Kairi. Also, while I'm on this topic, I really like how her humor balances out the seriousness of Riku at times, and I would love to see them play off each other more with this dynamic. While there is a fun side to Kairi, there's this underlying sadness, especially in KH1, that betrays itself when she thinks of her home world. You can see her smile fading when talking about Radiant Garden. It's never really clear just how much she remembers, but she does miss her home. It could be that she is scared of what happened, or maybe she is sad at not being able to remember. Regardless, she does say she is happy on the Destiny Islands, and I don't think that's a lie. She genuinely seems to love Riku and Sora and spends all of her time there on the island with them. One of the most interesting aspects of Kairi, in my opinion, is how she is the catalyst for a lot of the change in Sora and Riku, despite wanting to keep everything the same. You can see this with her preoccupation with Sora never changing, and her fixating on Riku's change at the start of Kingdom Hearts 1. There's a couple different points I want to highlight about this aspect of Kairi being a catalyst for change. The first is that Riku makes the comment that he would have never thought about leaving the island if it wasn't for Kairi. She was literally the reason for the three starting their expedition to leave the islands on a makeshift raft, to search for the outside worlds. Soon after, she talks with Sora, worrying about how much Riku has changed lately, and asking Sora to take the raft with her and go, leaving Riku behind. While she says she is joking, it shows this fear of change, wanting to keep Riku away because it symbolizes a negative change in her head. Sora throws it back at Kairi though, stating she is the one who changed. With a hint of sadness, she responds with a simple,
Baby.
There's an urgency here, almost like she knows things are about to change forever, which is why she wants to run away with Sora. See, the raft and journey are not really about leaving the islands for Kairi, it's about staying with Sora and Riku. The perfect example of this is by Kairi creating a charm out of Thalassia shells, which was believed to ensure safe travels. It's created after the likeness of the Powproof fruit, said to pair two people together forever if they share one. She eventually does share a charm and Powproof fruit with Sora, entwining their fate. It's actually a really nice detail how every time Sora is going away, Kairi ensures that she hands him back the charm. In KH1, she gives him the charm after returning from Hollow Bastion, telling him to be sure to bring it back to her. You can actually see Sora handing it back over to her at the end of KH2, but then before his journey in Dream Drop Distance, Kairi gives it back. It's a small motion, but it gives a lot of insight into how nervous Kairi is of losing Sora. Fear of change permeates a lot of Kairi's thoughts and actions. It's such an interesting notion, but honestly makes sense in the context of Kairi seemingly losing her family throughout her time in Radiant Garden before losing her entire home to darkness. For those who have no stability in their life, they become very sensitive to change. Every subtle shift, even if it's real or perceived, sends them into red alert. This explains her shift against Riku almost overnight, feeling that he isn't safe anymore, which, looking at how Kairi appears in the cave in front of the door, potentially already dead as she phases into Sora, makes me think maybe she isn't that far off with her fears. Riku tells Sora the door has been opened, but how does he know that if not because he saw it? With Riku already being influenced by Ansem, as seen by some scenes encoded, could Riku have opened Kairi up to harm in some way? Regardless, once more Kairi is ripped from a safe, stable place, her heart and body separated for much of Kingdom Hearts 1. When she finally does return, she watches Sora disappear before her eyes, falling into darkness and becoming a Heartless. This is another example of Kairi being a catalyst for change, with Sora's propensity to sacrifice himself for Kairi. If she was not there, Sora's trajectory majorly changes. I mean, in KH1 it's his primary focus to find Kairi, after he knows Riku is safe. He continues forward trying to find her and hardly caring about himself in that pursuit, eventually becoming a Heartless in order to bring her back. And he didn't even know he would come back. He just sacrificed himself, hoping that it would bring Kairi back. There was no intention of becoming a Heartless or coming back at all. For most of Kingdom Hearts 2, it is solely a search for Riku, since Sora thinks that Kairi is safe on the islands. The organization captures Kairi later in the game, using her to stoke the flames of Sora's anger. This happens in both KH2 and 3, with Kairi being used as a pawn to instigate Sora into action, which he may otherwise not have done. It makes you wonder how Kairi feels with this constant role of being stripped of autonomy and used simply to trick Sora into fighting or acting in a way that Xehanort can manipulate. This hangs over her from practically the beginning of the series, and I really hope we get some insight into how this affects her. If you are caught up with the series, you know that Sora used the power of waking to bring Kairi back after Xehanort's latest attempt of summoning Kingdom Hearts, ultimately leading to Sora's disappearance, with him waking up in unreality. Of course, none of that is really Kairi's fault, but she is often in this role where Sora will take drastic actions to keep her safe. Through it all, Kairi holds to this thought of Sora being the same boy she's always known. It could be a way of coping for her. With everything else constantly changing, even herself, maybe she holds on to the one stable thing that she can rely on, Sora and his smile. Even as far back as KH1, we see Kairi's understanding that things have changed, with her asking Sora in Traverse Town if things will ever be the same again. Things have literally constantly been changing for Kairi, but one thing she wants to save no matter what is the peace that her friends shared on the island. That is what she wants to protect. Kairi fights to keep those she loves safe, and that will never change. When I began writing this script, I had this idea that Kairi was naive and learned change is inevitable during the events of Kingdom Hearts. If she wants to keep Sora and her friends safe, she is willing to fight for it. This sentiment has always been a core part of who she is, though I think the better sentiment that really captures it is that she doesn't want to lose even more. See, Kairi has always known change. With her grandmother taking care of her from a very young age, it is likely she lost her parents at an even younger age. Add to that the loss of her grandmother right before suddenly losing her home to darkness, and it's pretty clear that Kairi has actually known quite a bit of change since as far back as she can remember. So maybe the better characterization of Kairi is that she has lost so much, so she seeks to keep things stable as often as she can. After Sora brings her back from Hollow Bastion, she wants to join him, making a point that they only made it as far as they did because they stuck together. She is trying to stay by Sora's side no matter the danger because she doesn't want to lose him or their connection. She knows in her current state though that she can't fight, giving Sora the promise charm she had made and making him promise that he will return it. She puts her feelings to the side, wanting to honor Sora's desire to keep her safe, which we can see in her thoughts in Cage 2. I think it's really interesting how when she forgets Sora, or rather when everyone forgets Sora, she is the only person to not completely forget him, showing how strong their connection really is. She makes a pact with herself, refusing to return to the island until she can remember Sora completely. The island was a special place to her, and it's meaningful that she holds it as such an important thing to remember that she makes a promise to herself, to not return until the memories come back. When she finally reconnects and remembers a bit of Sora, she goes to the shoreline of the mainland, an indication that she still hasn't completely remembered everything, stating that she remembered their promise and that she believes it starts with that letter in a bottle.
Sora? I think it's for you.
Thinking of you wherever you are. We pray for our sorrows to end, and hope that our hearts will blend.
Now I will step forward to realize this wish. And who knows? Starting a new journey may not be so hard. Or maybe it's already begun. There are many worlds, but they share the same sky. One sky, one destiny.
The most important part of this letter, in my opinion, is her statement that she will step forward to realize the wish that their sorrows will end and their hearts will blend, which I take to mean reconnecting again. The pain of being apart no longer there. Writing this letter helps her realize that she has to take action, that she can't just sit by and wait for Sora to return. I want to point back to Aqua saving Kairi as evidence that Kairi maybe has always wanted to join in because of the strong role model she saw in Aqua. Kairi has never just wanted to be a damsel in distress, waiting for Sora to come save her. She has always wanted to take action, and the letter in Cage 2 solidifies this. In Cage 2, we see those first steps forward, where she is given a Keyblade, one born from her connection with Aqua. There's a Paopu fruit for the keychain, symbolizing connection. The Kingdom Hearts symbol is woven into its design, alongside a crashing wave and flowers. Maybe it's my brain making connections that aren't there, but I like to think the flowers represent the land and sky, and the ocean was referring to water, grouping together Sora, Kairi, and Riku, with the Paopu fruit representing the unbreakable bond that the three have. Kingdom Hearts woven into this Keyblade makes you think of the light that dwells within all three. This Keyblade is the manifestation of her strong will to stay connected no matter what. Call me crazy, but I also think she is the connector between Riku and Sora, seen by the water and flowers being separate with a vine connecting from the hilt to the flowers. There's this moment after she fights off the Heartless alongside Riku, where Riku turns to leave. She was waiting for him to reveal himself to Sora, but he was too ashamed. It's only when she stops him, connecting the two together, that Sora really truly sees Riku. Who knows if Riku would have truly returned from darkness without Kairi being the light that guided him back, just as she did for Sora. What she was once afraid of, Riku changing, was something she no longer feared, because she could still see the light deep down within him. The most important thing here is, she was able to see that change doesn't always have to be bad. This is reinforced as well when she trains with Axel. Someone who once kidnapped her and who she felt unsafe around, now is suddenly her training partner. You can hear the shock and concern when she's first told this.
He means Axel.
What?
Maybe she used what she learned from her interactions with Riku, But she gives Axel a chance, and comes to really care about him and understand him. She becomes the key to Axel remembering Xion, breaking down those forgetful walls. Once again, with both Riku returning to the light and Axel remembering Xion, this shows that Kairi is a catalyst for change and connection. I think it's a really important lesson for Kairi to learn, that change is not always bad, and if embraced, can lead to amazing things. But from 2 onwards, she also works on herself and becomes a catalyst for her own inner change. This desire to be strong for her friends continues with her asking Yensid to teach her the ways of the Keyblade. She trains hard for the coming fight and joins the ranks as one of the lights fighting back against the darkness. The shift from her fighting form in Cage 2 to Cage 3 is very apparent, with her having a vast amount of tools at her disposal, and her general stance and movements are much more refined. She's serious about being someone people can rely on, and she has confidence in that knowledge. We can see it as she brings Sora back towards the light. When Sora and her team up against Xehanort, he asks if she is ready, rather than asking for her to stay back, which I think speaks volumes to her growth. I have a lot of feelings about how Kairi was treated in Cage 3, being used as a pawn to push Sora into fighting. It is clear she did learn a lot through training, but she also still has much to work on. I do think it makes sense that someone that is so new to actual combat would have trouble keeping up with everyone else. I just don't like how it kind of throws away a lot of her growth to have her become a tool for Xehanort to use. The trauma from Xehanort though manifests in Melody of Memory, where she is almost defeated by the memory of him. Her fighting here though is some of the best choreography we have seen. She has this quick wit, summoning her Keyblade and making it disappear as a tactic to get around Xehanort grabbing it. To have her struck down shows that in her mind, she is still leaning on Sora. There's a part of her, despite all of her growth and change, that is still scared. And don't get me wrong, I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I think that's a really interesting, deep moment to showcase in Melody of Memory. It was an interesting story beat narratively to show how closely connected the two still are despite being realities apart. But the fact that she is constantly being saved by Sora when she is continuing to say how much she wants to be strong for him and talking about how she wants him to be able to rely on her is something I hope gets addressed soon. It's really frustrating to see Kairi consistently be pushed on the back burner because you can see her growth, but sometimes it feels like the writers of Kingdom Hearts struggle to find a place for her. With Cage 3, so many characters were given resolutions, so I can only hope that Kairi gets a bit more focus and 4 in future titles. I can see the role she wants to play, and it's stated pretty strongly throughout the series how much she wants to be strong so others can rely on her. But either due to mismanagement or need to push the plot forward, she is relegated to a damsel in distress, which can be frustrating to keep seeing. It's a stark contrast against her character in my opinion, and hollows out her impact because she is important, one of the strongest lights in Sora's life, and I really hope we see more of that in the future. Kairi is a character that is strong-willed and has the drive to back it up. Despite that, there are some insecurities around how strong she actually is, and the fear around change. Throughout Kingdom Hearts, she learns that change is not always a bad thing, and can bring about some really good positives. I think that's what I hope people learn from her story, that even if things might be changing in your life, that sometimes that can be the best thing for you. Everyone is comfortable with what they know. That's why change is so scary. And sometimes that means we would rather be comfortable in a really toxic environment or a place that is really unhealthy for us, rather than going through change because we don't know what might await us. If you are on the verge of a big shift in your life, I hope this video provides some encouragement through that. You can make it through that change, and you might even be better for it after you step out of it. I hope this video gave you a better appreciation for Kairi. If you got this far, comment change or work it into your comment. If you have a second, I would greatly appreciate it if you subscribed or shared this video. If you want to go the extra mile, add Patreon and channel memberships. You can support me for as little as $1 a month. That money helps me to hire editors and artists for the channel, as well as upgrade my equipment or keep the lights on. Every little bit helps, but please don't put yourself in a bad position if you're unable to do so. If you found this video helpful or insightful, I'd really appreciate you sharing it around. I've also made other videos on Kingdom Hearts, and also plan to make some on Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.